Well, good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I hope you've had yourself a wonderful Friday, last day of the week. TGIF for everybody, everyone in the workforce headed out for the weekend to do whatever it is that you all like to do. And sincerely hope you have a safe and prosperous weekend with family and friends, and that you all get to make good memories. Nothing like that with family and friends. So, Duke's Daily. We're going to keep it simple today. I've entitled it Odds and Ends from the Sports World. Just a few things I want to talk about today. Hockey. We're going to start with some hockey here, and I'm just kind of interested in knowing what people are thinking or wondering. Last night the Bruins ended up losing in OT 4-3 to the Lightning. Had chances to win that in the overtime as well as Tampa Bay did, and also with the Edmonton Oilers. And I don't know if this is something that's going on that I'm hearing from these two teams. Maybe there's other teams that it might be just isolated to those two. But is this whole salary cap thing and the restricted free agents now making a bigger difference, like really going after money and stuff at the beginning of their career instead of as it used to be, people getting paid for what they had done. Now it's getting paid for what they think you're going to do, right? Which is a bit different. Because what I've heard from those two teams is early, and it's early days. I know that. So maybe I'm just kind of grasping at straws for a topic. But both teams talked about, the lack of secondary scoring. Last night after the Bruins game, Bruce Cassidy, coach of the Boston Bruins, talked on that. He labored on it a little bit for a while about how they need to start getting some secondary scoring. They're getting, obviously Pasternak is off to a great start. Marchand, Bergeron, their top line is doing okay, but it's other than that, the bottom six really is not contributing. Similar issue here in Edmonton with the Oilers. And I'm going to tell you something about this Oiler team in terms of being coached by Dave Tippett and what a difference you see and you hear. Like I have like a half-hour commute to work each day. So I turn on 1260, TSN 1260 here in Edmonton, and it's a predominant hockey channel. If you want a hockey channel, in your area, if you're in a town, this would be a great one to have because these guys just talk a lot of hockey. They talk other sports, but they're big hockey guys, and as well as they should be. It's an NHL city. But Dave Tippett talked about the same thing as well. Like as if you haven't checked the scoring and stuff, Connor McDavid is up to 17 points. Draisaitl is chipping in there. Nugent Hopkins, some points here and there, but they're not getting no secondary scoring in their bottom six. And it makes one wonder, like, what can teams expect? What can players expect when you're going to go and you're going to use up a chunk of your cap money on a select few players? Now you look at what's happening with Toronto. We'll see what happens with them over the next couple of weeks. Apparently, John Tavares had an injury, broke a finger or something like that. They're saying he's only gone for 2 weeks. I don't know. I would think that would be very hard to come back in 2 weeks from a broken finger. I don't know what the extreme was. I haven't really read over the notes on his injury, but it's going to be a good test for Toronto. And I'm not even really sure what their schedule is. Nonetheless, we do know that Tavares has received a pretty big contract, right, last year. And on the heels of that, Matthews got paid, and now Marner's been paid, right? So, I mean, they have like four guys, Nylander, four guys that eat up a big chunk of their payroll, of their cap space. And so when one of them goes down, right, there's not a lot of room there to maneuver and things. So it makes you wonder, like, I know some people always think sports should be capped. You should have a salary cap and stuff like that. Well, you know what? I believe in the entrepreneurial spirit. I believe in capitalism, proper capitalism, right? And, if you can give bang for the buck, then great, right? I think people should be compensated for their skill set. sadly, in our way of life here in North America, athletes and entertainers get paid way more than more important people that are to us, such as doctors and paramedics and nurses and all of that. Right? When you're laying on that bed and you know what, you don't know you're going to die or not, and there's nothing the doctor can do. It's just on hope and a wing and a prayer. Your money don't mean nothing to you, right? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to transpire with the whole working of this cap in the NHL. I do know that when they do get to do their next collective bargaining agreement, they figure that that will have escalated a bit more money being made available. But right now, as it stands, teams are freely given to their young studs. And, it's kind of hard to say no to that. But now you're hearing, as I said at the outset of this, a lot of secondary scoring is becoming a complaint, right? That's twice here, and within 48 hours, I'm hearing a coach go off on that aspect that they need to get more. And I don't know, how do you go about getting more? Do you trade for somebody? I don't know. A lot of other teams are having the same issue. They're not going to trade, right? So it is a challenge that I think the NHL will have to deal with. Teams will have to deal with, right? The quality of players. I don't know. I don't know what the ready remedy is. If you're watching this or you do happen to watch this and you are into hockey quite a bit, maybe you could make a suggestion as to what you think is a good way to go about that, right? But for now, that's just kind of something I picked up on in the last little bit, hearing the different interviews, hearing Dave Tippett. And let me tell you something about Dave Tippett. Man, oh man, I don't know if you've ever listened to Dave Tippett talk, but you should get a copy of an interview, like a post-game show or something he's done so far with the Oilers. That man's voice, like, I'm pretty sure if I walk in there the first day and he comes in talking, and even if he's gentle, he's just got one of the deep, firm, solid voices. Like, man, no way am I crossing this guy. No way am I crossing it. Edmonton 6-1. And the Oil is playing the Red Wings, their third game in 4 nights. So I really can't see Edmonton botching this one. They should be able to go to 7-1. What a difference that makes to the spirit in this city. I'm telling you, my place of work, you see people come in, even the cashiers and stuff, wearing their jerseys and all that thing. And I can tell you, when things are going good, Edmonton it's a big hockey city. They really support their team here. But unfortunately for them, there's been a lot of sour years. My goodness. And when you have arguably the best player, probably the best player now, I would like to think he's maybe surpassed Crosby. Crosby's on the back, starting to take the back turn of his career, though still got a bunch of years left. Can't say that he doesn't. But McDavid, I think, he's the deal. He's the deal. And, if you're Edmonton, you certainly can't waste that. You can't waste those years. So, I mean, I can see there being a little bit of a push for them to try to do some things to get them in the playoffs this year. I get it. But I don't think they're going to do things at the expense of development of their younger players. The injury to Larson was a bit of a Debbie Downer right out of the gate within a few games. So, that meant bringing up Ethan Bear, one of their young defensemen that they have a lot of hope for in the future. And so he's getting exposed sooner rather than later, which I think they would have rather that it was later before he came up. But so far, he's holding his own. The young gun is. And, perhaps maybe it has something to do with the environment. I mean, winning changes a lot. It really does. The attitude of everybody, you want to be there. You don't want to fail. You don't want, your team to be disappointed. Oh, excuse me. Long day at work. Your teammates being disappointed that, if you're the cause of, of a loss or something like that. So anyhow, that's a bit on my hockey thing. With regards to baseball, Mike Link, he said to me, or sent me a message. He said, "What do you think? Got Verlander and Cole. Yankees got any chance?" You know what? You play the games, right? To say no would be, you shouldn't say no. You shouldn't say they got no chance. But I'm telling you what, if I'm betting, I'm betting on the Astros to put this thing away within the next game or two. 33 men the Yankees have left on base so far this series. That's astounding. And isn't it certainly an indictment against the whole home run thing, right? Baseball is a very rounded game in which many things have to work and have to happen in order for success to come about. The home run is part of that. It is not the only way to go about it. When you look at some of the past World Series champions that have won, you look at Kansas City. I mean, how can you not be impressed with how they did things? Because their ballpark alone, made them have to be producers of runs and not sitting on the home run. The days of Earl Weaver, the one-time manager of the Baltimore Orioles, was his philosophy: get good starting pitching and sit on the 3-run homer. Well, he would have been perfect for today. Earl Weaver, he would have been in his glory with the way the game is done today. But there's still a place for small ball, right? And this is where, the analytics are fine. I think, for the regular season, I think Billy Beane has come out and even said as much, that his system is no good when it comes to the playoffs. It's good for the long haul to get you there. In short series like this, and that's what a 5, even a 7-game series, that's a short time. There's no guarantee that strategy works. You have got to know how to manufacture runs. And that's why, Kansas City was successful. When you look at the Red Sox, they did hit a bunch of home runs against the Dodgers, but, a lot of the Red Sox production comes from doubles, hitting doubles, moving men over, right? Situational style hitting. Not right big up on the long ball as past Red Sox teams have been. So, the Yankees are not out as long as you're alive, as the Boston Red Sox proved in 2004. Anything's possible. But here's a statistic to keep in mind: 85% of teams that make it, that get to 3 games to 1, they finish it off, right? So the percentages are not really there in the Yankees' favor. Garrett Cole, what can we say about Garrett Cole? I mean, he's just on another planet right now. Last game wasn't even really his best stuff, and it was a great effort. It was a hell of an effort. Verlander, he's had another great year. He definitely had a renaissance coming to Houston, really picked up his career again. But, Garrett Cole is the ace. Make no doubt about that. That's the guy you want to get. If you're having to get to a Game 7, he's the guy right now you want the ball in his hand. Verlander, still a stud, but there's some chinks there, right? I mean, he's shown even from last year against the Red Sox that, you couldn't trust him 100%, right? And against good hitting teams, I think even into the World Series against Washington, that is a team that manufactures runs. Now, they hit a bunch of home runs, especially in that last game, but they're generally a typical National League team. With the bat, with the pitcher hitting and stuff, they learn how to produce runs, not sit and wait for home runs all the time. They lost their big home run threat in Bryce Harper, right? So they now have to look at other ways to get runs in there. So, I mean, anything's possible, but I really don't see it. I had picked the Yankees to win in 5. I really thought, it might be a different challenge for Houston. They might not be able to handle that. The Yankees, have hit well all year, and I thought they would get a little bit of pitching. And Tanaka, great in his first game, not so good last night, and that makes a huge difference. Starting pitching still rules. Bullpen is important. Again, I think that goes back to the whole Moneyball type thing. It's a great philosophy. You got to have that strong bullpen throughout the season. But, when it comes playoffs, you got to have that them horses got to come through. They have got to get you at least 5, and most times a definite 6 strong innings to minimize the usage on that bullpen. So we'll see. Games coming on in a little bit here, so we'll tune into that and see what happens. All right. Last thing I want to just quickly discuss, guys, is last night, Pat Mahomes. If you followed Thursday Night Football, KC in Denver, Kansas City wins the game in Denver, but terrible injury for Pat Mahomes. Looks like he's going to be out at least 3 to 4 weeks. There's no clear I don't, or at least I have not heard yet. If somebody else knows something, then my apologies. It does look like he's going to be at least that, and there's still that possibility that he may not come back this year at all. Let me just tell you, as a fan of that game, I hate seeing that happen. I hate seeing star players. Some people say, "Oh, well, that's a great break for the Patriots because it's in the NFC and he was your primary competition," and blah blah blah. No, I don't. That's not how I roll. When I win, I want to beat. Whether when I played sports or cheering for my team, I want my team to beat the other team's best, right? And besides that, Mahomes has become the face of the National Football League. Terrific quarterback. I mean, he's the future, right? He is what's going to be representing the NFL moving forward. And great kid, got a hell of an arm, great mobility. On a sneak, quarterback sneak, I think a lot's being made out of that, and it shouldn't. Just as Andy Reid said, it's a high leverage play for very little risk of injury. But guess what? It happens. You can be injured stepping outside of your freaking house, man, and just hit a piece of ice or something slippery. Oops, there you go. Break your leg, bust your knee up, tear ligaments. I mean, shit can happen, right? It wasn't like he was running, scrambling, and he got hit by a defender. He was just trying to do a thing. Tom Brady does it all the time, right? And injury has, never happened to him as a result of it. But terrible play, terrible injury for Mahomes and for the Chiefs. We'll see what their backup can do because he's still going to have to throw because they still don't have a great running game in place, right? McCoy a little here, but nothing to write home about. It still relies on the throwing game, and they still don't have no great defense. I don't go by last night. I mean, gee whiz. What's his name? Joe. Used to be the quarterback for the Ravens, Super Bowl champion, and I can't remember his name right at the moment. So, Joe. Ain't that terrible? Man, gotta go have a drink of beer. Maybe that'll get my memory going. But anyway, sad thing for Mahomes, and hopefully it's only for the 4 weeks and that he will be able to get back and be effective, right? I'd like to see them come into that game into Foxborough with him being healthy and have a little bit of mobility. I think this will restrict him in ways. I mean, I've never had my kneecap come out of place. And man, I watched them. They put that back in. Oh, you talk about tough, man. Walked off the field. He walked off. I can't imagine. They would have been taking me out on a stretcher, even after they popped it back in. Gosh, that didn't look good at all. Huh? Tough, man. Tough, these pro athletes. So anyway, that's our edition of the Duke's Den today. Last one for this week. Hope everybody has had a great day. Look forward to coming at you again next Monday. Day off for me at work, so we'll put something together for that show. And not sure yet if we're going to have a Sunday Night Sports Guys on Sunday. I got to talk to the guys about it because it looks like scheduling is going to affect our show next Tuesday. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate your support and enjoy your weekend. Hopefully your team's playing this weekend, whether it's baseball, football, or hockey. And keep that TV on and keep watching. All right, guys. Everybody have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.